Welcome to another episode of Always Be Connecting. People often talk about being part of a community, but it isn't always easy to find. Our next guest has found her tribe, and we're going to talk to her about the things that she does outside of the workplace. And her name is Malin. Welcome to Always Be Connecting.
Thanks a lot for having me.
What? Tell us about your community. Do the reveal of who that is and what you do.
Sure. I am part of a cycling club called Rafa. It's also like one of the leading cycling brands. But essentially, we are a cycling club. We meet every day during the week, on the weekend, just cycling, having fun, challenging each other, learning from each other, and just spend some time together.
Yeah, beautiful. So, where did the cycling come from? Where did you start? And what would you describe as your superpower in that world?
Right. How did it start? So I grew up in the north of Germany. So like, essentially, I grew up cycling ever since I've been like maybe 5, 6. And then when I moved over here, I actually got a proper road bike. So that's how I really discovered like cycling as a sport rather than just by means of commuting. And then ever since, for the longest time actually, I just rode by myself. But then after COVID, I decided to give it a go to just join a cycling club, see how it works, see how I like it. And like 1.5 years ago, I discovered Rafa. And it changed my life. And like now, I'm there pretty much every day of the week, just riding with my mates.
Rafa is the name of the club, is that right?
Rafa Cycling Club.
Yeah. And what's your role within that?
Yeah, my role. So I'm one of the ride leaders, which means I organize rides, lead rides, and make sure that the bunch is safe. Like the group that we're riding with is safe on the road. We also have like one-on-one sessions where we teach people how to ride in a bunch.
Okay. And what are sort of like the key rules for riding in a bunch?
So many.
Yeah?
There are quite a few because, especially in Sydney, the road, or like some of the roads are really busy, as you very well know. Some drivers are quite aggressive, so you want to make sure that you're very tight and that you communicate really, really clearly. So it might actually surprise you how much communication is happening, like when you're part of the bunch, because the rider in front of you or behind you relies on you to communicate what they are seeing.
Yeah, okay.
So at the end of the day, when there's a pothole, you want to call it out. Either you point it out or you call it out. If there's an obstacle on the left or on the right, if you're turning, if you're stopping, if you're slowing, like everything needs to be communicated because like it's literally a game of inches. So you're sitting on each other's wheels, which means if one person breaks, it can have really serious consequences.
Yeah, sure. So I wonder what other people can learn from. Well, I wonder what you've learned from learning to communicate and be in a bunch like that.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen other sort of parts of your life improve where you've needed to communicate better? And
communication is definitely one, but it's also like taking ownership. It's more like making, especially as the ride leader or the sweep, like the person at the very back, it's your responsibility to make sure that the bunch is safe.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's on you to make the call. It's on you to call people out in case they don't adhere to the guidelines. It's not because you want to play the power card or hurt someone's ego. It's really making sure that the bunch is safe. So sometimes people aren't too happy, but at the end of the day, it's always about the bunch. It's never about like one rider. It's always about the bunch and to make sure that the bunch is safe.
Sure. So does that happen? Do egos and power trips come up?
It happens a lot, yeah. Like egos, it's a big thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, especially as the female ride leader, and then you have like lots of guys. There's a lot of egos sometimes.
Yeah, sure. And what's the consequences of that happening?
Well, it depends because, like in my case, I'm not too shy to put them in their place.
Yeah.
But then obviously, like every person is very different, right? And everyone has their own unique way of doing it. So it just depends on your experience and how confident you are.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier because for me, podcasting has come with a lot of unexpected benefits, like to be able to talk to lots of people from different walks of life and have lots of content ready for our
Yeah.
business and things like that. And you were saying that there are unexpected benefits of being part of a cycling group. So do you want to
Yeah.
like talk about some of them?
It's the most surprising thing for me was the sense of community, because
Yeah.
initially, like, I always rode by myself, and then I started at another cycling club, but I only saw them like once or twice a month. But then, like, now, because I see them every day, you become really close, and you just know a lot about each other, what's happening in your life, what you're struggling with, what's working
Yeah.
really well for you.
Every day, an
Every
everyday
day.
check-in, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. So it's a great support, especially when you're going through some challenging times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's been great. And then also you just push yourself a lot more because you're in a bunch, right? So you kind of want to go with the bunch and you don't want to be the slowest person. And because we also do like long rides on the weekend, you see different places and you can go further and further and further, more than you probably thought you would be able to.
Yeah, yeah. And so like my experience with community, and I wonder if it's similar for you, is that like when you're younger, uh, then you kind of I don't know, sometimes I feel in my past I didn't have a sense of community. And you know, I kind of rebelled against it in my teens, early 20s, and went drinking and found a community there that wasn't a lot of fun, but you know,
It's different, yeah.
it was perhaps not sustainable lifestyle. Did you have a similar experience? So like was finding a community unlocking something in you?
It was very unexpected because I never thought about it that way. And like similar to you, like I played football for years and years.
Yeah.
But even then it didn't really feel as connected. You know, because you might be playing together on the field, but you don't really talk an awful lot. Whereas like on the bike, on occasion, it's like therapy. You just let it all out. And then you have coffee after, and then it's like, sometimes you just overshare. But then at the same time, it brings you closer as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, okay.
And also it's like just good to get it off your chest.
So if you're riding every day with the same people, then, you know, you run out quickly of talking about the parking situation or
that is very true.
or what was on TV last night. So I guess that you do have to go to places that you wouldn't go.
Well, sometimes, yeah. But then kind of depends on the person as well. Like initially, like when you meet someone for the first or second time, it's actually easier to get them to open up.
Yeah.
Because especially when they're new to the club, they don't really quite know what to expect. They might be looking for like community. Yeah. And if that's the case, then they're very open to share. And then also kind of depends like what's happening in their world at the moment, because sometimes it's just easier to talk to a stranger. You know?
Yeah.
So you might as well talk to like the person next to you that you might or might not see again. Because again, when you're very new to the club, you might not even know if you want to stay around for that long or like how often you want to attend.
So what do you think the sort of the implications are for that kind of deep connection? If you're seeing someone every day, it sounds like if someone is going through something, they're going to have a support network.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of support networks, because you know the problem so deeply, the person so deeply, that you can genuinely care and support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like it's really rare these days as well, especially in the city, because realistically, most people have their own lives, but then there's not really that close friendships anymore. So like having a community like that is really, really helpful. Like personally, I find it very helpful and very valuable.
Yeah, yeah. Is there examples of times where you've helped each other out or
all the time
you've fundraised or...
No, not fundraised, but it's more like, let's say when I was made redundant last year, it was really hard.
Yeah.
With the marketing, it was really challenging.
Sure.
And then like now there's someone who goes through the same experience. But then on the flip side, there's also someone who is running his own business, is going really well, but there are a lot of internal politics that he has to deal with. And it's just like stuff like that you just can openly talk about. And because you're not connected from a work perspective, it's just easier to like get it off your chest.
So you've got people who share your experience of being made redundant, but then also have the experience of making people redundant. So
I suppose
a
you
bit
could
of
put
a
it this way, yeah.
a 360 view
Yeah.
of what that is. So
It's all about perspective at the end of the day, right?
yeah, you're less in your own head. Like,
Yeah.
how do you think we would have played out without
I have
that?
no idea.
Yeah,
no idea.
right.
So let's say my mate, for example, who is currently looking for a job, has been looking for a job for like 9 months now. He actually got a job with someone who rides as part of the club as well. And I'm pretty sure if he hadn't made that connection at the club, he wouldn't have a job currently.
And does it extend to secrets? Or
Secrets? What do you mean?
Do you know a lot of things about other people that
I don't know.
oh
I'm
no.
not sure.
Oh first rule about Fight Club.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
very cool. What other sort of benefits do you think come from it? I mean, health, obviously.
Health, yeah, most certainly. But then also it's just pushing yourself,
Yeah, okay.
getting out of your comfort zone. And that to me is really what I like about it as well.
So how do you, because to me, riding a bike every day is just out of the question. I can't even imagine,
Yeah, I love it.
like, how do you go, because you were saying earlier that you kind of went from 0 to 100 really quickly.
Yeah.
Dip your toe in and then you're like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah.
Is there a discipline in like applying yourself every day? Are there days you don't want to do it, or
No. It's
Okay.
It's a habit. Like I wake up and I want to go. Unless it's raining, I always go. I don't even have to think about it. It's just so ingrained at this stage. And I suppose there were like two things that led to it. So the first one was at some stage I just started waking up earlier and earlier.
yeah?
So then I just woke up at 5 a.m. anyways. And then I bought a new bike.
Yeah, okay.
And ever since I got my current bike, I'm just hooked.
And
So-
were you always an early riser, or is that
No,
something
not at all. Not at all.
that came?
But I read a book and that completely changed my life, the 5 a.m. Club. You might have heard about it. If not, I can highly recommend it. It's great. And essentially that put me on this path where I'm currently.
So what's the 5 a.m. club? What's the sort of premise of it?
What's the premise of it? It's essentially about taking more control of your life
Yeah.
and then taking care of all 4 aspects of your well-being. Like, how does he call it? Forgot. Essentially taking care of your mental, spiritual, physical, and soul health.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that's how it started.
And I guess when we're talking about the benefits of this, I guess cycling covers all of those.
It does. Yeah.
And yeah.
I should probably add it's also highly addictive. It's like, I kid you not. It's like you get so many endorphins. And then, so you get the endorphins from the sport itself. And then also you get like the social side of things.
Yeah.
So then at the end of the day, in my current job, there were like 2 days where I couldn't go riding because it was raining. And at some stage, halfway through the day, I literally had to go onto the treadmill because I was missing the endorphins.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
very different
sure.
side of that, which a lot of people don't really think about or talk about, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real. It's a thing.
So do you ever just want to ride by yourself? You're like, oh, look, I don't want to deal with people today. Or
yeah,
is the
sometimes.
people kind of a really critical part of it?
At this stage, I'm just really used to it. So as I said, like for the first, I want to say 6 years, I just rode by myself. Whereas like now, I'm just used to always be in a bunch. So like Thursdays is pretty much the only day where I could potentially ride by myself.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm usually with other people. It's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It's more like at this stage, I feel like I'm always on duty. So that's why like sometimes I just want to ride by myself. So I don't really have to, be the ride leader or the sweep and can just do my own thing.
Yeah. It's really interesting listening to you because like I can really sense the different benefits, especially with those things that from the 5 a.m. club that you were talking about, the soul and
spiritual,
Yeah.
physical, mental. Yeah.
Um,
And it just clears your head a lot, especially when you're on the bike.
yeah.
Like whatever the issue was before, it's like it's gone. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that like that activity covers so many bases. It's away from your family, it's away from your work, it's a different type of camaraderie, but then you also it's an organized fun. I've talked about organized fun before, of how that having a structure and having a lead and everyone having a role in what you're doing, I don't want to say makes it more efficient, but just makes it easier to do. Do you know what I mean? If we were just like going for a coffee, maybe we would never have gotten deep enough. But like this sort of organized fun of a podcast allows it to get to a different level. And then the same for cycling, the organized fun allows it to so you've got the health benefits, and then you've got that working as a team benefit, sort of looking out for each other in a physical safety aspect, and then the camaraderie, the sort of therapy.
Yeah, there are many aspects that you wouldn't actually think about at first glance, but yeah.
So, and that's like, if you were to spend money on that, that would be like 7 professionals.
Very true. Yeah, if you put it like that, actually, cycling seems a lot cheaper now.
Yeah, beautiful. And what about community? Is there opportunities to work with the community as a cycling organisation? Do you do much of that?
In terms of outreach, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. We haven't really done anything like that, I don't think.
But then I guess it's more being part of that community and talking to each other that way.
Yeah, because also I think the main benefit is that you really see yourself on a daily basis, or maybe not daily basis, but at least like multiple times a week. Whereas like when you only do like outreach programs, it's more like a one-off. So you don't really get like the same benefits that you would get if you're actually part of a cycling club.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And if people want to get into cycling, what's your advice for them?
Just give it a go. Like, get a cheaper bike on Marketplace. You don't have to get the most expensive one. Just see how you like it. Maybe don't go onto very busy roads first thing.
Yeah, where would they go?
Maybe something like Centennial Park, or like there's
nice.
There's something like Centennial Park over out west in Parramatta. Something like that where it's a bit safer.
Yeah.
And join a cycling club is actually great fun. And
are there lots around?
There's so many at this stage. Like a lot of cycling clubs. I don't think a lot of them offer like one-on-one sessions, but you know, when it comes to road cycling in particular, we do offer them. So always happy to tag along. And then just give it a go.
Is there like a proficiency testing system or anything like that?
Not as such. It's not as structured, but it's more like in our case, because we are very structured. And one of the reasons why we grew so much is because we started recruiting people who are new to cycling. And then like the way we structure our like open rides on Wednesdays is we have like different bunches per pace. So let's say someone who's very new, they would go to like a slower bunch, whereas like someone who is really, really fast and really want to push themselves, they would go into the fastest bunch. So there's essentially something for everyone, because even though you might be a very experienced rider, you might be coming back from injury, for example.
And there's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? Some people do just want to have a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, just a coffee ride,
leisurely.
Have a chat.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences. I think that's very cool. Me and my daughter do have bikes, but they have been in the garage for a little while, so we might pump up the tires.
Please do. Like, do yourself a favor. Like, once you embrace it and you get used to it, it's like one of the best things you can do. It's also a really great bonding experience for you and your daughter.
Yeah. I remember that, like, from long ago when we were cycling. It does unlock conversation. Yeah. Because what else can you do?
Yeah, and also the benefit is you don't actually look each other in the eye.
Yeah.
It's like similar to when you ride in the car with your kids as well, right?
Interesting.
Because it's shoulder to shoulder, you just Yeah. Let the mind wander.
Just like, I know we've said wrapped up, but like that's an interesting point because my daughter is possibly on the spectrum, so I wonder if that's going to be beneficial to sort of neurodiverse people as well. Just spitballing, but yeah.
Don't have any experience in that area, I'm afraid, but maybe.
But that's an interesting thing about the eye contact. But yeah, thank you so much for coming down. I think that sounds like an amazing idea to meet up with some people, go for a bike ride, even if it's just friends, family, go for a picnic. And, you know, if you get the bug, then there are lots of bike clubs out there also. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.